Hi, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the video. And this is a paid request for BA. Bad Attitude. BA Baracus. I love you in the A-Team. Now, from BA, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. For those interested requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, tier list, ranking, review, re-review, thought streams, commentaries, whatever the case may be, feel free to send in. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I really and truly do appreciate it. And you guys will help keep this channel going. Thank you so much. So I do apologize for the lateness of the videos. I'm trying to get them out as soon as I possibly can. But if you still want to request pretty much any type of video, feel free. Links are down below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. So thank you. So now we have a film called Bitter Moon from 1992, which the title fits because this director makes me bitter. Says Roman Polanski is a piece of shit. I had one person get mad at me for a review saying, well, you start off calling this director a piece of shit. Yeah, because I thought the director was a piece of shit. If you don't want to start your review that way, that's fine. Make your own review. In my review, it was about Polanski, it was a different guy. But no, I think Roman Polanski is a piece of shit. There's a reason why he escaped to Europe and hid there for as long as he wants. Just if you're just in the US, his ass is grass. Fuck Roman Polanski. I've never been a big fan of him as a director. I don't mind Chinatown. I did review that. I didn't mind it mostly because of the performances. But Frantic, I find it one of the more boring Harrison Ford films. I don't give a shit about Rosemary's Baby. Abort the bitch if you want. And I don't care about this movie. But apparently I'm not alone. A lot of critics and people didn't like this movie either. Although Roger Ebert did. Now it came out in 1992. Sort of the later Polanski's career. I think Roman Polanski did a film. Was it Sigourney Weaver? He did another film that I did not mind for what it was. But this one, it's overlong. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Granted, that's with credits. So what, 2:15? 2:14? Did not need to be that long. It stars Hugh Grant, who I like as an actor. Peter Coyote, another actor I don't mind. Kristin Scott Thomas. I forget the French lady's name, but her character name is Mimi. And the plot of the film is Hugh Grant and Kristin Scott Thomas. They're a couple. They've been married for 7 years. But you tell that they're wanting more excitement in their life. So they're taking a cruise ship to Istanbul. While they're on the ship, they meet a nice Indian guy who has a daughter. And they help this French lady, where they're asking where she's going. Oh, you're going to India? You're going to Istanbul? Or going further. Much further. And ultimately, before I get into the details, the gist of the story is this couple meets Mimi and her hubby, Peter Coyote, who's in a wheelchair. And most of the film is Hugh Grant having the hots for Mimi. Peter Coyote tells a story. It's mostly a flashbacks to Peter Coyote's story about how him and Mimi left, how they met, how they fell in love, how they were very, 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 very passionate, how that passion quickly crescendoed, and then how one abused the other, and then eventually how the other abused the other. And this very too passionate, but also too toxic of a relationship. While Hugh Grant is hearing these stories and still wanting to have sex with Mimi and cheating on his wife and all this other shit. It's supposed to be like the lack of passion that Hugh Grant and Kristin Scott Thomas have versus the too much passion that Peter Coyote and Mimi have. First off, I didn't give a shit about any of these characters. I didn't find anybody... Well, The only person I found likable was the Indian guy with his daughter. He's just a nice guy who seemed to know what he's doing in his life. Kristen Scott Thomas, I didn't have a whole lot of issues with her, but she didn't have a whole lot to do other than kind of just be a quiet wife and pick up on Hugh Grant being or wanting to be a two-timing prick. But it's like there's no one to root for. Don't really like any of these characters. Hugh Grant, I get it. Your marriage isn't what you thought it was, and you want more excitement. But then when you meet this BB girl, she acts bitchy, and she even fake sleeps when you're telling a story, and says you're boring, and then leaves. And yet you're still intrigued by this lady? Are you a simp? Talk about his character. Are you a simp? Part of simp cast? You simpleton? I'm sorry. If a lady starts acting bitchy to me and fake sleeps when I'm telling a story, I'll be able to go fuck yourself. I'm going to dip my balls in some caramel and put it in your mouth like a popsicle. Okay? Shut up. But, and even at this point, I didn't think she was that pretty because she just had bitch face. Her body's great. She got a great ass. But her face just, I'm not attracted to, just bitch face. But apparently, even though she has bitchy and makes fun of him, Hugh Grant's still attracted to it. So that's when he meets Peter Coyote, who's in a wheelchair, says that she's the reason I'm in the wheelchair. I won't tell you the story. And apparently Peter Coyote's character was a failed writer. He was living in France. Eventually sees this girl on the bus, helps her out, finds her again while he's on a date with someone else. And pretty much leaves the date to go see this lady. And says, hey, let's have a dinner of our own. They mimicked each other, and then they start having weird sex with each other. When I say weird, it's because this is the shit in the movie. We are George Michael faith. Got to have faith, the faith, the faith. We gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. She's drinking milk, spills it on her tits, and then Peter Coyote goes in to lick up the milk from her titties while George Michael was playing on the soundtrack. Bit weird. Peter Coyote, thankfully we don't see the story, but he tells a story about how one point Mimi got to the TV, I guess like straddled the TV or something, and started pissing on it. So Peter Coyote got under her, and he describes the warm golden cascade. But I had the orgasm of a lifetime. Okay, if I'm hearing this story, I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge. Leave me the fuck alone, and I'm gonna go to bed. Like, and for some reason, like Hugh Grant, like says is horrible, but he keeps coming back to these people. So you're a fruitcake too, Hugh Grant. I'm sorry, if someone tells me a story they got pissed on the face and had an orgasm in their life, I don't want to see them again. I don't want to see them in the afterlife, let alone in this life. Fuck them. Sorry, not my tink. But he keeps coming back to hear the stories, and Peter Coyote still continues his story about how the relationship got stale. They did this role play where Peter Coyote pretended to be a pig and she's whipping him or something, and it doesn't work. Oh, there's the other part before that where Peter Coyote was tied up in a chair and she knocked him back and kind of kneeled on top of him. I'm like, what, to piss on him? But no, I guess to ride him or something. I don't know. I don't need to know more of the details. So Hugh Grant, he'll like piss around, and not in that way, but go around and hang out with his wife, who's really not much of anything in this movie for a good chunk of it. Even at a party on the cruise ship, he like leaves to hear more of a story. By the time he comes back, the story is, I mean, by the time he comes back, the party's done. Later on, Hugh Grant like keeps forcing pills on her for her to be knocked out, and she's like, "You want to sleep with her, don't you?" Which is like, yeah, he does, but then he lies, and then like keeps giving her pills for her to go to bed so he could go see the BB. And Peter Coyote's there. I might have gotten the events around, but anyway, I might have fucked up the events of the movie, like the timeline. But this stuff does happen. Because at one point, Hugh Grant goes in thinking Mimi's there, but it's Peter Coyote, and Hugh goes, "I'm tired of your games." Oh yeah, then how come you haven't left yet? I can't, Peter Coyote's equipment doesn't work because he's paralyzed. He's paraplegic. And he's like, "Listen, I'll let you have the affair with my wife Mimi if you listen to the rest of my story." And it's just Peter Coyote grows bored with her. Stockard Channing, for some reason, is in this movie and a cameo in one scene. Talk with Peter Coyote about his writing and, "Hey, why don't you come back to America?" And it's like the pedantic ramblings of a selfish bore. That's how I looked at Peter Coyote's character. And he craved variety, and he was bored with her. So at one point they have a fight, and he slaps her. She's knocked out. He felt bad, but he goes, "We need to separate." She begs, going, "Please, please, please, I'll do anything." So then he's like, "Fine." So he just treats her like shit, makes fun of her cooking, verbally abuses her. She just takes it. She keeps changing her hair, changing her clothes. She's called different names. She's pregnant. He forces her to have an abortion. He feels bad for a second, so we don't take a trip on a plane. But then when they get on the plane, he fucking leaves the plane, and then the plane flies off, and she realizes, oh shit, he's not here. Which I guess was the final straw. Because then later on, Peter Coyote gets hit by a bus. He has like a broken leg. She sees him, so she messes with him. So instead of a broken leg, some stuff happens. Now he's a paraplegic. So now she's going to take care of him, kind of by force. And now she's fucked with him, abusing him verbally, going out, having sex with other people in front of him, making him wet his pants. There's a birthday, she buys him a gun. So Hugh Grant leaves. His wife was talking with Mimi. And so one thing led to another, and apparently Kristin Scott Thomas had sex with Mimi. And Hugh Grant is just the ultimate fucking loser in this movie. So then he goes to confront them. Peter Coyote pulls a gun. Then he says some stuff and shoots his wife Mimi. And says, "We were too greedy, baby. We were too greedy." And then shoots himself. So now Hugh Grant, Kristin Scott Thomas, now they're closer together. Even though I don't feel like what they learned was earned in terms of they were never proactive on anything. They're never proactive and, wait, this is wrong, what I'm doing is wrong, what I'm thinking is wrong. It's just, well, these people are dead, so yeah, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess we shouldn't do that anymore. And then the scene where the Indian guy's daughter, Mr. Singh, his daughter says some words, Kristin Scott Thomas hugs the girl, and then her and Hugh Grant hug. I believe you guys still should not be together. Because you wanted to fuck Mimi, and then she did fuck Mimi. And like they don't have any meaningful conversations about what happened and what one means to the other. There's never any moment that they doubted, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So then all this movie is just how one couple is just blasé and boring. Hugh Grant and Tristan Scott Thomas, anybody could have played these roles. They were nothing parts. And they're two good, like, Kristin, I've seen her in other movies. They're two good actors. Anybody could have played these roles. You could have put any actors in them, would have been the same. They're not really, they're the lesser parts of the movie. It's more about Peter Coyote. Like the flashbacks between Peter Coyote and the girl Mimi, the French lady, those are probably most of the film. It's more about that. To the point, almost, not quite, but almost, these other characters are like an afterthought. So that's why they're not really strong characters. They don't really mean much of anything other than, well, because they're part of the next game Peter Coyote, this girl, are playing. And that is just, we had weird sex, something involving pissing. I fucked with you. She couldn't get the hint. Then she fucks with him. And then he's like, well, we'll do this on a cruise ship. Then kills both. The end. Like, I thought the story sucked. Peter Coyote, I liked as an actor. I don't know if it seemed a bit hammy or it seemed a bit, I don't know. Hugh Grant, Tristan Scott Thomas didn't do much of anything for me. They were interchangeable. Like I said, anybody could play their roles. Interesting that Vangelis does the score, because they're Vangelis who did the score to Blade Runner. Didn't they do Chariots of Fire? I mean, good composers, good. Always nice to hear Vangelis music. Wish it was a movie more interesting. I just was not interested in the story. I didn't give a rat's ass about the story. I thought it was way overlong. I don't think this needed to be 2 hours and 2 hours and 20 minutes. I don't give a shit about anybody in your weird teens. So I didn't give a fuck about anything. I didn't care what was going on. I didn't care about what was happening. Y'all deserve each other. The way I put it, y'all deserve each other. No, there's really no one to root for, except Mr. Scene and his daughter, that are barely in the film. So I'm like, why should I give a shit about anything that's going on? Why should I give a fuck? So Roman Polanski, I'm going to quickly look at what films he did. This piece of shit. Don't know what I'm talking about. Looked at his case from 1977. Fearless Vampire Killers, I remember now liking. Rosemary's Baby, don't care. What? That was a lame ass movie. Don't care about The Tenant. Frantic was boring. Bitter Moon. Death and the Maiden, I didn't mind that because of the acting. I thought Sigourney Weaver and Ben Kingsley did a good job acting-wise. I guess I would say that's the best film I've seen from Polanski. That in Chinatown. I would go with, those two. Ninth Day was boring as hell. I don't give a shit about The Pianist. Do not care. He did a film called The Palace. Officer, Spy. And Emmanuelle Seigner, or Seigner. Emmanuelle Seigner is the French lady, which I know she would work with. She'd worked with Roman Polanski a few other times, but she was even in Based on a True Story in 2017. I don't understand, if they know what Roman Polanski did. Louty, if you know what the guy did to underage people, why would you work with this motherfucker? I don't understand that. I don't understand that reasoning. Sigourney Weaver, Ben Kingsley, Johnny Depp, like, why would you work with this guy? Did you not know? I would think by this point you would know. I don't understand that. But with that said, thanks for watching. I thought this movie was boring. I thought this movie was overlong. And unlikable characters. Just like the director. So we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.